Hello everyone and welcome. If you're getting ready for any competitive exams, you already know static general knowledge can be, well, a little tough. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into some of the most important questions that keep showing up, and we're going to tackle them together. Let's jump right in. You know, static GK can sometimes feel like you're trying to memorize this giant random pile of facts, right? But what if I told you there's a much smarter way to do it? That's our plan for today. We're going to work through these key questions just like you would in a real exam. So here's the game plan. We're not just going to memorize answers, no. We're going to actually understand the why behind them. We'll group questions by themes, which, trust me, helps that information stick in your brain, something that is absolutely crucial when you're sitting in that exam hall.
Okay, let's start what I like to call our guided tour of India. First stop, some of the most important geographic landmarks. We're talking about key lakes, major dams, and, of course, our country's borders. You ready for this?
First up on our tour, lakes. Here are three really important ones you've probably heard of: Umiam, Vembanad, and Hussain Sagar. Now, before I show you the answers, take a quick second. Can you picture which states they're in?
So, how'd you do? Umiam Lake is all the way up in Meghalaya, and Vembanad Lake is down in beautiful Kerala. But the really interesting one here is Hussain Sagar. It's famous because it sits right between the twin cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad. Pretty cool, huh?
All right, time to level up a bit. This is a classic exam-style question. It's a two-parter, designed to check if you really understand the concept, not just if you've memorized the name. So, between Chilka Lake and Periyar Lake, which one is India's largest lagoon, and which one isn't actually a lagoon at all? Okay, so the secret here is knowing what a lagoon actually is. Chilka Lake over in Odisha is India's biggest lagoon. It's a body of brackish, or slightly salty, water that's separated from the main sea. But Periyar Lake in Kerala, that's a totally different story. It's actually an artificial lake, a reservoir, that was created by building a dam. Remember that difference? It's a classic trap on exams.
Time for a little Spot the Error challenge. You are going to see this format all over your exams. So, take a look at these pairs. Which one is matched incorrectly? Is it Sambar Lake in Rajasthan, Lonar Lake in Madhya Pradesh, or Chilka Lake in Odisha?
Let's break this one down. We know Samhar Lake is in Rajasthan, that's correct. And we just talked about Chilka Lake in Odisha, so that's also correct. This means the odd one out, the incorrect pair, has to be Lunar Lake. The slide says it's in Madhya Pradesh, but it's actually located in Maharashtra.
All right, let's switch gears from lakes and move on to dams. This is a straightforward but very important question. Can you name the highest dam in all of India?
And the answer is the Tehri Dam, located in Uttarakhand. Now, here's a little bonus fact for you that could easily be another question. Remember that it's built on the Bhagirathi River.
Okay, let's shift our focus and zoom out to look at India's international borders. First up, with which of our neighbors do we share the shortest land border? Any guesses?
The answer is Afghanistan. It's a relatively short border, just about 106 kilometers long, and it's located up in the Jammu and Kashmir region.
Here's another question format you've got to get used to. Process of elimination. The question is, which of these states does not share a border with Bangladesh? The options are Meghalaya, Tripura, Manipur, or Nagaland.
You know, a really good strategy for a question like this is to just learn the states that do share a border. So with Bangladesh, there are 5: West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. Once you have that list down, the answer becomes super clear. Both Manipur and Nagaland are not on the list, so they don't share that border. Okay, let's get specific because boundary lines have names, and this is a very frequent topic. What do we call the line that marks the boundary in the northeast between India and China? This one comes up a lot.
It's called the McMahon Line. Now, knowing the name is great, but knowing the story behind it is even better for your memory. It was proposed way back in 1914 by Sir Henry McMahon to set the boundary between what was then Tibet and the northeast region of India.
So we've talked about the land and the water. Now let's talk about the people. This next leg of our tour is all about the incredibly diverse tribal communities of India. This is another super important topic for your general knowledge prep.
Let's do a little quick-fire round to test your knowledge on tribes. I'll give you 3 prominent tribes, and you see if you can match them to their home state. We've got the Munda, the Kuki, and the Ao tribes. Where do they live?
And here are your answers. The Munda tribe is primarily found in Jharkhand, the Kuki tribe in Manipur, and the Ao tribe in Nagaland. This is a classic example of a match-the-following type of question, so a table like this is absolutely worth remembering.
Okay, let's zoom in on one of India's largest tribal groups, the Bhil tribe. Do you know the main region where they are found? Now think carefully, because the answer is a little more complex than just a single state.
See, the Bhil population isn't confined to just one state. They mainly live in the border regions where 3 states meet: Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. This detail is really important because in an exam, the correct option might be worded something like the border areas of all 3 states.
So, as we start to wrap this up, I want you to think about how everything connects. We've seen how geography, the lakes, the dams, the borders, physically shapes a nation. And we've also touched on how the diverse people within that nation create their own unique identities. And that brings me to a final thought for you to take into your own studies. Always look for the connections. Ask yourself, how does this river or that mountain range affect the people who live there, their culture,